So my number 4 is Iron Claw. It's the saddest movie of the year. I'd call it horror drama if there's such a thing.
Even if you don't know anything about wrestling, I know very little. I thought it was very good. I thought it was very enjoyable. I'm glad I watched it. Yeah, I would recommend it because of the performances in the movie. Lily James, the other brothers, Zac Efron.
I mean, man, Zac Efron's hair.
Number 3, I love this movie. I think that a lot of people that had complaints about it, including you, I didn't have those complaints.
You're one of the lucky ones that the last 30 minutes didn't bother you. I wish it didn't bother me because I really liked it.
I was invested from beginning to end. I know it's structured strangely that he put the Trinity test in the middle of the movie, but I wanted to see what Einstein said. I wanted to see what this trial thing was all about. I wanted to see why Rami Malek was an Academy Award-winning actor and he's just standing there and not saying anything. Like this is going to pay off at some point. Rami Malek is in the movie for a reason. Cillian Murphy won Best Actor.
Cillian Murphy.
Christopher Nolan also won.
Christopher Nolan.
And also Robert Downey Jr., he won the Golden Globe.
Robert Downey Jr.!
I don't know if he's going to win an Oscar. And I said it in our review, if he's not going to win an award for this, he's never going to win an award. Everybody's good. A dozen great actors and actresses. So Oppenheimer, to me, is Christopher Nolan and in fine form. Much better than Tenet. And your 3 is?
Of all the movies I've seen this year, The Covenant has the most satisfying ending.
Yes. We both are fans of Guy Ritchie, and I think both of us said this is his best movie, which is saying a lot because I love all of his comedies. Operation Fortune movie came out, Guy Ritchie, and it was like just another Guy Ritchie movie that fast. It was weird.
Yeah.
And so we both didn't know what to expect from that because we're not used to Guy Ritchie not doing a comedy. But this is the one that felt like it was the most important movie that he made because it's totally a real war drama. I don't know if it's a true story, but it's based on real things that have really happened. And I've never been a big fan of Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm not saying he's a bad actor, but this is the first time where I was like, wow, he was great.
Dar Salim, he plays Ahmed. He's a real hero. And when you see him as a hero, it's like, that's what I want to be.
Yeah. Dar Salim is fantastic. He should be nominated for awards. I don't know if anybody, I think they forgot about this movie or they just didn't care. Well, the next one is my number 2, and my number 2 is The Covenant. So,
okay, my number 2 is Poor Things. This movie is fearless. This movie doesn't give a fuck. There's this dark idea of what happens if there's an attractive girl with the mind of a 5-year-old. What will men around her do to her?
This is Mr. McCandles.
Hello, Bella.
It's kind of, what the heck? It's disturbing. There are some moments in this movie where like, oh no, please don't do it. And then it does happen. Oh shit.
That's Yorgos. That's how his movies are. He pushes the envelope.
I approached Alistair Gray. I had read his novel and I immediately fell in love with it.
This movie is very funny. She says the most honest things because she's an innocent.
Oh.
But when you find out the reason why she's mentally challenged, it will blow your mind. Like, what? They took the idea of Frankenstein, but it's more disturbing than Frankenstein. It's kind of really psychotic. Watching this movie, I thought about, wow, humans are not good people.
Yeah, that's definitely a Yorgos theme in his other movies that I've seen, is that if you watch The Lobster and you watch The Favorite, she's basically saying that humans are flawed and hypocritical, self-centered.
They're scheming, they're manipulating.
It's a very pessimistic view of humanity.
But the story is so real. It's hard to disagree with this movie. The cinematography is beautiful. The sky is purple. It doesn't look real. It's an adventure. It's not boring. It's not like just people talking. She actually goes on different places and meets different people and meets different characters. And all characters are interesting.
Me and Paul message each other about movies, and I got more messages about this movie, I think, than any other movie of the year, Poor Things. Paul couldn't shut up about this movie. You loved it so much. I'm not the biggest fan of Yorgos. I mean, he's not for everybody. Very, very rated R, those movies.
And this is the same. It's very rated R. This is an artsy movie that is actually very easy to follow.
Yeah, I need to see it. I'm going to see it. We both have the same number one, I think, for the second year in a row. Last year was Banshees of Inisherin.
Oh, I doubt if we have the same number one. What's your number one?
You don't have the same number one. I'm shocked.
No.
My number one is The Holdovers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, you've got a teacher, Paul Giamatti. He's the guy that no one likes in this high school, that a lot of rich kids go there. He's a strict disciplinarian, by the book. He's not going to bend the rules for anything. And he is the guy that ends up staying over the Christmas break with some students who can't go home because, you know, they don't have anywhere to go. And the cook that's also stayed over. And so it's this unlikely little family that ends up happening. People that have nothing in common, you would think. She's a black lady. He's a white man. Here's a young teenage boy.
I don't think this premise have been done before. I can't think of a movie that's like that. So it was a fresh experience for me.
Alexander Payne, one of my favorite directors, and arguably his best movie. Paul Giamatti won the Golden Globe.
Thank you, Golden Globes.
Great story, heartwarming, funny, dramatic. There's no sentimentality, like cheesy sentimentality, what you might expect from this kind of movie. There's none of that. It feels like real life, and people are both likable and unlikable, like real people. You see their flaws, but you root for all of them, and it pays off in the end. Like we said in our review, the third act really was one of the best of the year in terms of the structure, the writing, the acting. It all really pays off well in the end. If you think, oh, this doesn't sound interesting, like I didn't think it sounded that interesting when I went to see it, but because I like Alexander Payne, I wanted to see it. I'm telling you, it pays off. You're going to love the characters. You're going to love the relationships. You're going to laugh. And then there's some very, very good, dramatic, sensitive moments that you're going to be pushing back tears.
And my number one is Sound of Freedom.
I forgot you hadn't talked about it yet.
The people that run this country are already saying, don't watch it. You would wonder why.
Yeah, you're making people believe more in the conspiracy. You're making us more suspicious that you're part of the Epstein thing. It's like,
don't be too obvious.
Why would you be against stopping child sex trafficking? It doesn't make sense. Why would you want to defend pedophiles? I don't understand it.
You won't care about this movie until, God forbid, this happens to your son or daughter.
Yeah, God forbid.
This movie affected me like no other movie ever did. I'm gonna admit, I cried like 5 times. I got out of the theater with literal chill down my spine.
And I remember feeling a lot of anger too. Just anger that this kind of evil exists, and why are not more good people stepping up to stop this evil thing from happening?
It made me think about it for a whole week. Like no movie has done that to me since Banshees of Inisherin, where I was just overwhelmed. It was pitched as a Christian movie, and maybe that's the reason why people don't like it, because Christian movies kind of suck. But there's nothing Christian about this movie. I wouldn't put it under Christian movie. I would put it under drama thriller, a normal drama thriller. That's what it is. You don't have to be a Christian to watch this movie.
Yeah, that shouldn't have anything to do with it. Is it only Christians that are against pedophiles? I mean, come on.
If this was a Christian movie, this is the best Christian movie I've ever seen. Like nothing else comes close to this. The level of direction, sound design, cinematography.
If any of those things those elements were not as good as they were, then it might not have the impact that it has. But because they did their best to make this a real first-class production, it makes it even more powerful.
People are actually buying tickets for other people to watch this movie because this message is very important.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give any of my UFC employees that want to see this movie free tickets to go see. And I would like to encourage other executives to do the same at their company.
It's more than a movie. This is a PSA, a public service announcement. This and Oppenheimer would be the most important movies this year.
Yeah, it's the most important movie of the year, and if we're going by that, it's my number one.
It was only $14 million, but they used that money well, and it made $250 million. That's 18 times profit. So if there's any big blockbuster winner of this year, this is it.
And the money that it made is going to fight the good fight.
Guys, thanks for watching, and put in the comments below what your top 5 is, and we're all excited for 2024. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
See you later.